Hey, good morning, everyone. That's Gary here for another episode of the Butcher Boy Chronicles. I'm not gonna call it that, but that's silly. It sounds kind of funny. Let me know how the glare looks. I'm always trying different lighting in here. Anyway, enough of that. Start out this episode by saying I'm going to go into a little bit. Every episode I have is kind of a rant. I'd say 85% of my episodes are rants. This one's going to go on a little bit of a tear about. Well, it's a hodgepodge of things actually, but you'll get to it in a minute. I was raised Catholic. I went to, and this is not going to be about religion, so give me a minute. But I was raised Catholic, and had it shoved down my throat. I mean, I didn't have a choice. My mom and dad were Catholic, and so we had to go to Catholic church. We had to go to Mass every Sunday and every holiday. And for all the people out there that were raised Catholic or Christian or whatever you call it, ours was Catholic. I think Catholic and Christian are the same, but they just call them different things. Anything that you did that in that wheelhouse. The last thing any priest says at the end of Mass is what? Go in peace. At the end of every single Mass I've ever been to, the priest sits in front of the whole congregation. Go in peace. Oh, and there's no music, but that's what he does. That very thought of go in peace leaves every single every parishioner, the minute they exit the beautiful church and they get in their cars and get on with their day, that very saying of go in peace escapes their minds. The minute they get in their car and they go out and pull out in traffic and someone cuts them off, God damn it, that asshole cut me off, flipping him the bird. See, it's just examples like that. But when I was still, that was just an offshoot example of, but it goes on. It goes on. I see it. When I worked in the grocery store, Sundays were our busiest day. Hands down. When church let out, and it was like that was the pulse on Sundays. At about 11 o'clock was the first wave of parishioners that just got out of church. And they come in fit to be tied, man. And I always say to my coworkers, at Catholic, I would say the same thing I just said in the beginning of this program. At the end of every Mass, the priest says, "Go in peace." And I say to my coworkers, and I would remind them of that very thought leaves their mind the minute they walk through our doors to shop. What do you mean you don't have that roast beef, that roast I wanted tonight for dinner? My whole dinner's going to be ruined because of you. And they just got back from Mass. They just got out of Mass. 10 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier, they were leaving the church. Go in peace, my aching ass. We're all perfectly imperfect. We are, You figure if I'm not going to be chastised or punished, or judged by the Almighty God when I die, I got another 50 or so years before I die. I can act like this in public. See what I mean? Perfectly imperfect. I don't know. I don't know if there's a heaven. I don't know if there's a hell. I was raised Catholic. I have a very, very strong belief in a higher power. I don't call it Jesus Christ. I don't call it God. I call it a higher power. Something greater than what I am. A force that runs this microcosm, this experiment of the Earth's experiment, humankind experiment. That's what I like to call it. Something greater than we are, standing here in flesh and bone, is running this whole Earth, this whole universe. It has to be. It'd be awful selfish of us to think that we're the only life form in the universe. Well, we're the only life form. There's no way any other planet in this solar system and all the other thousands and thousands of solar systems, we're the only life force. Bullshit. Be awful, awful arrogant to think that we are. We're so small. We're so micro. We're so micro. But I believe if someone said, "Well, Gary, what do you believe in?" I said, "Well, I believe in this. I believe in the Bible. I've read the Bible. I believe that Jesus did walk the earth. I do believe that. I believe he died on the cross for our sins. I do believe in that. I believe in that. What I was raised in. I believe in that. Is my belief any greater than someone else out there that might be an atheist or an agnostic? No, I'm not going to judge you for your belief. I don't judge anyone for their belief. Whether you're lesbian, homosexual, black, white, green, yellow, whatever you are, whatever you want to be, the heart wants what the heart wants. You love who you love. You believe who you believe. You believe what you believe, all right? So getting that out there right now, what I'm going to say now is this. I believe the one thing I do believe in is karma. Oh, karma never forgets an address. Karma never forgets a name. Never forgets a face. And karma is a really, really busy person. Karma could be female. Karma could be male. But karma is the balance. This world we live in, this universe I'm going to get a little deep here. The universe we live in, everything it's a balance. Everything has an equal balance. Like this, like a seesaw. It's a seesaw. It's a yin, it's a yang. It's a good, it's an evil. It's an odd, it's an even. Everything has a give and take. Like a boomerang. Give and take. Everything in our world, in our universe, is perfectly balanced to have a good and a bad, a white and a black. You know what I mean? It's a balance, a seesaw. And karma is in charge of all that. See, you know, people think about, they've heard the word karma. They don't really dig deep at what karma is. You can't do something bad to a person and get away with it. You can't. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to be present when karma comes swinging back on the girlfriend that cheated on you, or the wife that left you for the plumber, or your husband who left you for the secretary. If it comes back on you, you see it in living color, boy, you're awful fortunate to see karma in real life. But most of the time, we don't see it. This is where trust and believe comes in. You got to trust and believe that karma never forgets an address. He never forgets an address. He never forgets a face. And he never forgets an action. Because what's that saying? With every action, there's a reaction. The seesaw. The yin, the yang. The odd, the even. The good, the evil. Everything has a balance. I really believe that. I feel very strongly, I'm very passionate about that. And I'll share a story with everyone right now because this happened in living color for me and I was able to witness it. About 2 years ago, I was in a store with my company. I was in 13 stores. I think I might, if you've looked at some of my past episodes, you'd remember that. Is there too much glare in here? A little bit late for that, isn't there? A little bit late for that? That's a little better. A little bit late for that, Gare. A little bit late for that. Anyway, I was in 13 stores. I moved around a lot up the company, man. I was like, I would do whatever it took to get, I did whatever the company wanted to get moved up. That said, 2 years ago, I was comfortable in a store that I thought I would retire out of. And I was in that store for 7.5 years. And I thought, okay, I'm like, at this point, I'm 64 years old. I'm 65 now, but at 64, I was just turning 64, and I thought that this was a store I was going to retire out of. Well, people in my department, my boss, my head meat cutter, and the store manager had other plans for me, and I didn't know about those plans. And one day I was off. I was off every Friday, and I get this text message from a buddy of mine saying, "Hey Gary, this guy, I'm not going to say his name on here, was walking around the store telling everybody, guess what? Gary's getting moved. Gary's getting moved. Gary's getting moved." He's getting transferred. Gary's getting transferred. And the guy that knew about it, I worked with, and he told everyone in the store, but he didn't text me. Didn't give me the heads up that something was going on. All right? So let's fast forward to the very next day, being a Saturday. I was there by myself in the meat department. They set me up. I was by myself with a person in seafood. One person. So there's two people on a Saturday. Now, Saturdays and Sundays are insane. Well, they set me up, but usually 3 people on a Saturday. And my boss, the head meat cutter, is usually in there on Saturdays with me. He wasn't there. So I walk in the door, I clock in, and the store manager comes downstairs from his castle, from his office that overlooked the whole store. The offices were upstairs. He goes, "Hey, Gary, you got a minute?" I already knew what was happening, but he didn't know I knew. I said, "Oh, here we go. Here we go." So he takes me upstairs, this store manager, sits me down. He goes, "You're getting moved. You're going up to the store up the street in Milford. There was 2 stores in the Milford area. You're going to the other Milford store." "Really?" "Yeah, you're getting moved. I don't know. The powers greater than me is having that happen, and you got to go." And somebody threw me under the bus. Something happened along the way. I got thrown under the bus somewhere, unbeknownst to me. That's all I'm going to say on the subject. Karma. Was I pissed? I was disappointed. I was getting thrown under the bus. But you live long enough, you learn. You learn something every day. Don't ever trust anybody. Really, I mean, I hate to say that. I hate to be like that, but it's true. You shouldn't trust people. Not unless if you trust your parents, you're good to go. But when you trust your husband or wife, I wouldn't do that. Or even your boss or coworker. Don't trust any of them. So, karma. I got to see it from afar. I was very fortunate to see it from afar, because after I got moved to the new store, the store manager got fired. Well, not initially, but he got busted down from the store. The guy that told me I was getting moved, he got moved from that store. And he got busted down to a co-manager from a manager. God, what a slap in the face. And then from that point, he got fired. He was dismissed from the company. Bing! Karma in living color. But I didn't see it, but I heard about it. That was karma. And then the head meat cutter that threw me under the bus to the store manager. I mean, I don't know all the details, but I know what my end game ended up being. Retiring out of a store for only after being there 1 year that I'm retired. But so the head meat cutter, he got a choice. He goes, "You can go to this store or this store." And they sent him to a busier store farther away from his house. And where he thought he was going to retire out of that beautiful store he was in, which I was in as well, and everyone knew him, they thrusted him out of there. Karma. See how that works? Karma. And I heard about it. And I think that karma did it on purpose in such a quick, because it happened very fast. I wasn't gone more than a month and all this went down. And I think karma did me a solid that day, because karma knew I was really upset about it. And I'm a good person. I really am a good person. I may come off as a douchebag on these programs because I just speak my mind, but I am a good person. I know that when I pass away someday, when I go to the next level in the universe, when I get reincarnated, because I believe in reincarnation, by the way. When I get reincarnated, maybe I'll be reincarnated as a snake or a fish or something. Maybe I'll be something different as a human being or something. I don't know. But I think I'm a good person. And I got screwed over big time. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there watching this program can understand that. It's because there's other people out there that have been part of that have been on the receiving end of karma. So whatever you do to somebody, be mindful if it's wrong. If you want to cheat on your husband, or if you want to cheat on your wife, or you want to throw one of your coworkers under the bus, or you want to lie to somebody about a car sale, the car runs great, or if you want to screw somebody over, anything that has to screw people over to offset the balance of the yin and the yang, or the boomerang, or the seesaw in life, trust and believe that karma will not forget you. It may not come back on you right away, but it's going to come back on you at some time in your life. You'll be let's say you're walking down the street and you trip over a curb, but you didn't see the curb. You trip over a curb and you do a header on the face. You face a face plant on the concrete and you knock out all your teeth and you break your nose. Karma was watching. It might be 10 years from the time you screwed somebody over, but karma, so like I said, karma never forgets a face. Karma never forgets an address. And it's necessary, karma is necessary to balance out the balance of the microcosm of this universe, this planet. There has to be good, there has to be evil, there has to be right, there has to be wrong, there has to be a perfect balance. See, most people don't think like that. They just live their life and they get it. They keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, how much more money can I make? How much more money can I make? I read something one time, a long time ago. It said, if you want to see the man, show him the power. And once you get the power, you'll see the man. Money changes people. And then when money changes you, and you get that power, you do things you wouldn't do unless you had the power. If you didn't have the power, you'd be a normal, God-fearing Christian man or Methodist or Buddhist or pray for Allah or whoever you pray to, whatever God you pray to or whatever thing you believe in, whatever keeps you ticking in life. And you look over your shoulder and say, well, maybe I won't do that. Maybe the religious experience was created by this higher power called God or Jesus or Allah, whoever, to keep the balance, to help keep the balance, to help the yin and yang, the seesaw, to keep everything equal. So karma wouldn't have to work so hard. Think about that. I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out. I was getting ready to have breakfast and I had just made a cup of coffee. And I'm going to get going with my day. And I was thinking about that this morning. I don't know what I got thinking about. There's so much stuff that goes on in my head. So much content rolls around. There are things that come across me when I wake up in the morning. I'm getting dressed and I think, well, what can I talk about today? Well, maybe I won't talk about anything. And a lot of people that are watching my programs, they say, well, hell, Gary will throw something on there 3 times in a week. And then there's other times I won't go on for a whole week will pass because I don't have anything going around in my noggin. I don't know. I enjoy doing it. I don't charge anybody anything. If you like my content, subscribe. Subscribing is not going to cost you anything. I'm not one of these types of podcasters that will ever ask you to donate money. That's not my thing. I just like talking. So yeah, so if you like my stuff, like it or subscribe to it, and it'll just grow my channel. And if you don't, that's fine. Just keep on coming by and looking at my stuff. Anyway, I hope this wasn't too deep for people today. I just felt it was a need to talk about the yin and the yang and all the good and evil and the balance of the seesaw. Anyway, try to live a fruitful life. Try to do good to others. Don't be mean. Don't be a douchebag. Don't cheat on your spouse. Don't lie. Just try to live a good life. That's all. And in the end, everything will be fine. Everything will just be peachy. All right, y'all, have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out.